we definitely need a studio.
And take two. We are live with
Mr. Terry Wayne and the Blamegirl podcast.
Yeah, we're all thrown
Good
off,
God.
y'all. We tried to start. We don't know what happened. It just.
This is what happens when you let women use computers. Like it just, you know how it's gonna go. That's
all right. Terry, you're now to blame for everything that we're about to discuss.
Yeah, I just want to hit him. All right. And we have the beautiful Shira in the house. Thank you for joining us, Shira.
Thanks for having me.
How was your weekend, girl?
Oh, it was good. Lots of driving. I would say I went on I don't know if it was a date, Is it a date if you split the bill?
No, that's not a good sign, just to be honest.
That's rough. That's a rough one.
I don't think I've ever gone on a first date and went Dutch. I don't think I've ever done that.
I'll do that shit.
No, even if I wasn't into him, I'd be like, come on. It's your job.
I'll do it if the guy offers, but I'm always prepared. I was just telling someone this story, how when I was in high school, I went out on this date with this guy and I forgot my money, whatever, my checkbook, because that's what we use. That's how old I am. I forgot my money. And he was like, so this was I was dating this guy and it made me feel like shit. And I was like, never again will a man treat me like this. So,
yeah.
I'll give you the perfect example.
What'd you say?
I said my issue is I continue to offer.
Well, that's fine. That's the good thing. That's what I was going to say. I think Seinfeld nailed it during the actual Seinfeld sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
They said, it's nice to get a reach. You know what I mean? Maybe just reach for the check. I got it. Okay. All right. Yeah. See, that's fine. It's just nice to get a reach. I think that's a reach is common courtesy, but also I think the guy picking up the check is also common courtesy.
Yeah.
It's just manners, people.
I don't
just
disagree
manners.
with that. I prefer the guy to pick up the check because, like I said, I'm older, but I'll do it. I'm prepared. So
yeah,
that's the right mentality. You shouldn't be entitled thinking it's just going to happen, but it should happen.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at.
And then, if we're dating, sometimes I'll insist, let me buy it,
Oh yeah, if you're dating, that's different. Like if you're more than 3 months in, it's a whole different ball game then.
How was your?
I'll get dinner, you get the movie.
How was your weekend? Any dates over the weekend?
Any dates over the weekend? What did I do this weekend? This weekend blew by me in such a fast pace. It feels like I didn't even have a weekend.
What'd you do?
I played golf with Perry on Saturday.
Okay.
So that's the majority of Saturday.
Perry Sack.
That's Perry Sackatopoulos. Yeah. And then yesterday, I just caught up on a bunch of shit that I had to catch up on. So it was a pretty boring day yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, I was stayed home all weekend. I have nothing exciting to report for once in my life.
For once.
Yeah.
Oh.
What? I'm a hot girl. I do hot shit.
I know. I've done some of that hot shit with you.
I know. So.
What kind of hot girl shit do you guys do together?
Mushrooms, really.
Mushrooms. We went to Ohio
hot girl
together.
Shit is microdosing on mushrooms.
Well, we went to Ohio together and sat on the stage with Dave Chappelle.
I forgot. That's some hot girl shit.
Yeah, that was real hot girl shit.
All right, so my weekend.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your weekend.
It was boring. It's fine. It was a boring weekend this weekend. Let's get into it, guys.
Let's do it.
Are y'all ready to do some blaming?
Been waiting all day.
All right. So first up, Harvard pledged $100 million to atone for the crime of slavery. Who's to blame? White people?
I was very confused by this when I heard it.
Yeah.
First of all, $100 million ain't going anywhere. It's not enough. It's not enough to really do anything.
It's not $47 billion. That's for sure.
Exactly. It's definitely not reparations.
Right.
And I think this is just, first of all, Harvard in its coffers has $2 billion of discretionary spending ready to go. So 100 million is a nice gesture, but that's all it is. It's just, it's almost, to me, it's almost like just showing good face. Stop messing with other, you're gonna mess this up again. Lord.
But is Harvard supposed to be the singular, like, you know, university or place where the money comes from, I guess, you know?
It's almost like they said, we're going to put up $100 million and now racism is solved. You know,
No,
like
it's just to atone for their own crimes in slavery, because they had slaves at the beginning of Harvard's beginnings.
Right.
And a lot of their donors and people who started the institution owned slaves. So it was started with money that was made on slavery.
But everybody owned slaves. You know what I mean? Like,
so what they want to atone
Not the
for?
Jews.
Jews were slaves. You know, that's
well,
yeah, but I guarantee you there was some Jewish Southern plantation owners that had slaves. I guarantee it. The laws of probability on this are just, there's no way they didn't. There were
Black people who owned slaves, so there probably were.
Yeah, there had to have been, because it was just part of it. It was like buying a mule.
Should the country, institution by institution, not atone? Do you think this is a too woke move?
No.
I've told you this before. If this country really wants to apologize for not just slavery, but Jim Crow, the civil rights resistance, everything that we've done, if they really want to atone for everything they did, they would offer 0% interest, 0 down loans for African Americans to buy homes in regular middle class neighborhoods, and that would clear up a lot of this. I think that's what.
But I think it's more than atonement, right?
A loan program for home buying.
What were you saying, Shira?
I think it's more than like an apology, right? Like, it's what can we do to kind of bridge the gap that, like, you know, so many Black people are just impoverished now, which, you know, it's like, it's not just like, here's our apology. It's like, here's our way to solve this like class division in, you know, that kind of was started in this.
It's a generational, it's a way to atone for like the generational, not just like the financial gap, but like the access into Harvard too.
Well, no, I'm just talking about on a general scale. Like, if you really wanted to fix these issues, because the number one way to create wealth in your life or in your children's lives or in your children's life is through housing and property ownership. That's how they do it. That's why you have the golden age of America back in the 50s. It's because all the soldiers coming home from the war got free 0% down, or I'm sorry, 0 money down, low interest loans, and they were able to build those suburbs. That's how we built all the suburbs for these major cities. And if you really wanted to lift Black people out of the impoverished neighborhoods that we put them in, the best way to do that is giving those zero money down is the biggest thing. Because when you go to get a home loan, if you don't have 20 grand, you're fucked. You're not getting one.
That's good. That's your idea to fix it. But with regard to Harvard, do you think this was a good thing for them to do? Like, it's only 20 million. Is it going to help?
Well, no, but it's not.
What'd you say, Shira?
How much was it?
100 million.
What did I say?
20.
Oh, sorry, it's 100
million. But no, I'm saying systematic racism put the Black community where they are now, and systematic healing is the only thing that's going to get them out, honestly. Because you can give me stories of like, I came from the ghetto and I made it to here and here, and that's great, but I'm talking about lion's share in volumes. It has to be a systematic answer to the systematic problem that we created as, you know, the white community.
That's a good point. I mean, so what are the plans for distributing this $100 million?
Yeah, where's this gonna go to?
Where's it going? Who's it going to? You know, like, how is it benefiting people? I mean, I think any action that anybody takes, you know, I think is positive. I think it's a step in the right direction. Is it the like problem solved? No.
They're gonna, I want to jump in and say how they're gonna use the money, right?
Yeah.
This is very vague.
Let me guess. Wait, before you say it, let me guess. They're gonna buy a chunk of Twitter and bring back free speech. Is that right?
No,
is that how we're gonna heal?
Okay, so They should make a significant monetary commitment and should invest in remedies of equal or greater breadth than other universities, which they will attempt to redress its wrongs through teaching, research, and service. That's where the 100 million is going.
So is it research into how to actually give reparations?
Research into
It's not really gonna fix anything, guys. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
You
I
would-
think like,
That's
is that teaching, like, who are they teaching and teaching what? And how are they determining that?
Yeah. Well, I'm
Stupid
sure,
Harvard. What a
you
bunch
know,
of
I'm
idiots.
sure they're like really giving, because like Harvard's not just gonna fucking, they're gonna be on the too woke side now. You know what I'm saying? Like
Well-
if they're even doing this, like they're gonna get like the most black folks that you could probably possibly find to come teach these white people something.
Well,
That's
not
what
to
I
mention, let's
Oh.
remember, we did a story last year about Harvard
Mhm.
and how they were racist, but they were racist against pretty much everybody unless you were Asian. Because see, I'm not even kidding. We talked about this.
remember that.
Their Asian acceptance numbers were so crazy high that
Yeah,
they
that
actually
makes
did a story in the New York Times about it.
Yeah.
Was, how crazy, how much they leaned towards accepting Asian students as opposed to any other group.
And that just reflects on the American education system, I think.
I think it reflects more on Asian culture than anything else.
Yeah.
Like they get
Asians
shit
be
done.
smart.
It's not even that they're smart. They just work really hard and they get beaten by their parents when they don't.
It's the threat, the violence threats.
That is what it is.
Yeah, that's how I got it.
I had an Asian friend. He's like, it's rough. He said
So
it's
really, Harvard
My
should
mom
just show
being
more
raised-
support for for beating children.
rough. Well,
They
look,
should
if you
just make a fun for beating children.
really want to solve racism, I've been saying this for like
There you go again.
15 years.
Please
you
tell
wanna
us white
ever-
men how to solve racism.
I'm just telling you,
Yes, we know.
you need a place where everybody can meet, talk, and be friends.
We
Meaning you got to have at least a couple of Asian friends throughout your life. You got to have a couple of Indian friends throughout your life. You got to have a couple of Black friends throughout your life. A couple of Hispanic friends throughout your. The only
Okay.
way you actually see somebody else's point of view is by doing what we're doing right now and talking real shit with them. And they say
Yeah.
they're real. You
But
say you're real.
I don't
shit.
think that's the only way, because I often feel like my white friends, sometimes you don't empathize with my point of view. And maybe
try.
wait, let me get in here.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
And maybe sometimes the answer when it
Mhm.
comes to racism isn't for you to spout your ideas on how to solve it. You do have some good ones. Maybe sometimes for you to reflect on what other people who are affected by the racism
Right.
think we should do to solve it. And maybe that's what Harvard has done here. I don't know.
I thought that was implied with what I said, meaning this is my idea. What do you got?
Yeah,
Until I hear a
yes,
better idea, that's the one I'm
it's
going
your
with.
language. We've talked about this. Your
Yes.
language is very like you need to do this, and you need
I can be
you need
abrasive.
to fix your.
Well,
I
he
can
is
be-
a white man, so
I'm
like
already
we
behind the
can't
eight ball.
expect
I know.
anything different. Is that sorry? Is that
I'm a
racist?
straight white 40-year-old male. It's my fault. I get it. Like it's all my
and
fault.
then there's the sarcasm when
I'm not. I'm literally taking blame. Yes, it is all my fault, and I'm sorry. And what can I do? That's
reparations. Give me some money.
I'm giving you money plenty of time.
You're not splitting the check with Gio when you guys go out.
All right. Speaking of white men, this week our white men in chief has mandated. He signed in to mandate a financial literacy course
Oh,
for little Florida men and women that they have to take.
I think it's brilliant.
Who's to blame? Let's
Nobody.
let the man who sent me the article get in here.
I've been
What do you think
saying
about
this for 20 years, man. I said, why are you teaching me algebra? Teach me how to do my
He knows it.
taxes. No, teach me how to do my taxes. That shit I'm gonna use. You know?
Terry's to blame. Did you start this
No.
bill?
No, I didn't start the spell. I wish I could though. Every kid who's gonna be 18 in the next 5 years needs to learn what credit is, needs to learn how to maintain a credit score, needs to learn how to do their taxes properly. These financial lessons, it'll ruin you if you have no idea. It'll ruin
Oh,
you.
100%. I think like, well, I mean, when I was a bad kid in high school in terms of I didn't really go that often. And one of the issues was like in my, I think economics class or something, like one of the first days I was there, you know, I asked my teacher, you know, are you going to talk about how what we're learning about is like relevant to what's happening in today's culture? Because I was in school like what 2006, and or 2004, something like that. George Bush just got reelected when I was in high school, and they like slashed our education budget. So I was asking about that because here we were sharing textbooks. We didn't have enough desks for students. We doubled the amount of kids being, you know, allowed in our school, but like minimize the amount of space we had. And so when my teacher just like kind of scolded me for like asking a question about how it's relevant, you know, that's when I stopped going to school. So yeah, I think like I never went back to that class. So I think that this is very I think this is a good move, because it's one small thing like that they could do to improve our education system, which is
Let me just put this out here though.
yeah.
I kind of don't trust the politicians in charge of the education system. So what are they really going to be teaching these kids about financial literacy? Is it going to be something that benefits those in power?
No. Learning about credit and learning about taxes, I mean, that's just
people benefit and
you're
capitalize off of bad credit.
You're just if Nancy Pelosi would have put this out, you'd have been like, great idea. The fact of the matter is, you hate DeSantis so much that it's blinding your judgment, and you can't agree with the man on anything. This is one of the few things I agree with DeSantis on. I hate the guy myself, but I've been saying this for decades.
It's not just DeSantis; it's just in the hand of the wrong teacher, you know.
Well, everything.
Yeah, but I think that's with any subject at any time.
Have you seen that? Wait, have y'all seen what's been going on with our education system?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no. You read articles about teachers that get fired for teaching creationism in school too. That's the other side of the coin. You know, they're teaching
but now
Charles
it's like
Darwin,
you're not even allowed to use the term gay. Like, what's going on there? You know, like, I mean, you can.
Oh, I wish I was a kid right now. I wouldn't stop saying gay. I'd say gay all through class till they threw me out.
It's not even that. They're like getting rid of all this literature, and they're rephrasing and reformatting social studies books so that
you're talking about the
white people don't feel guilty. You know, like.
Cool.
Well, we just feel a little guilty, don't we?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, do you trust them to even teach financial? You can't teach anything else, right?
I think I teach them to trust financial more than I trust them to teach like history.
Yeah.
You know,
they can actually twist stuff there, but that's the great thing about numbers. You can't really fuck with numbers, you know?
Yeah.
Like 2 + 2 is always going to equal 4. It doesn't matter how racist 5 is.
Well, what do you think that the kids will learn from this financial literacy class? Will they
probably nothing, because I don't think kids really pay attention at that age. But
well, I believe this is for high school students.
Yeah, I doubled that.
I think talking about high school Florida, students.
Like, it's not, you know, like, where was I? I was smoking pot at the beach. I was getting drunk everywhere I could. Like, I don't know. I mean, but the good thing about this, I think, is that like it is actually like one of the few things that I feel like is relevant, right? Like if you're talking about mathematical equations, that's like maybe relevant for some people who are very, very good at math and going to apply that somehow in whatever it is that they plan to do. But this is actually one practical piece of knowledge that they can even teach. So if you make it relevant to your life, like this is how you're gonna, you know, I'm at a point, I'm 33 and I've been trying to, you know, put an offer on an apartment in Miami, which is like a shit show, and we'll get into that next, I think. But like, you know, just if like part of why kids tune things out is because it's not relevant to their lives at that time. But maybe if this is something for, you know, how you avoid paying taxes, then maybe people will listen.
Well, not only that,
They need Elon Musk to teach these classes.
there's recall memory too. You know, do you ever remember learning something and then you never even think about it? It never, but as soon as the subject comes up, you go, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So maybe this might work on those kids, and they could avoid the traps that I fell into, meaning like as soon as I started going to college, instantly I was inundated with all these predatory credit cards I would have known, like, don't get involved with this shit at 15, 18% interest. I did too. And I shit the bed on my credit for 7 years before I could fix it.
My mom paid off all my credit cards.
Well, my family doesn't love me, so nobody helped me with anything.
And you know what?
I had zero help in life.
Yeah. I was a girl, so my mom's like, paid them all off, and it's like, don't do that again, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know,
Yeah.
you know?
Now, see, my dad was more like, I bet you won't do that again. Like, you learned, didn't you?
You gonna
like
sit there it's a 7-year fucking lesson.
Yeah, it
right?
was more like that Southern, like, I bet you won't do that again, will you? All right, go to work.
I don't know that these classes will teach these kids how to make it to the top 1%. But I'll tell you where the top 1% is. They're fucking here in Palm Beach County. They converged on it and they changed it. South Florida, like you said, we're gonna talk about it. So
bring your money here.
Who's to blame? Why are people doing this, and is it good?
COVID
Obama.
mainly.
Just kidding.
No, it's mainly COVID. A lot of people came down during that.
You don't want to be stuck in a concrete jungle. Well, if I can go to Middle America.
I've got insider information on this because I keep telling you how busy my work has been for the last couple of years since COVID hit. And the majority of clients I get are people moving down here from the Northeast, buying houses. That's what's sent the housing market prices straight up,
and the foreign investors.
And then that's some of it, but
a lot of it. I meant to tell you because I saw an article this week. I know we talked about this, but a lot of it is blamed on foreign investors. Just putting that out there.
Yes, it is.
Russians.
It's about 20% of my 20-25% came from them, but I'm serious. Like the huge lion's share has been people either getting second homes down here or moving down here, and that's what's sending the prices high. That's what's making your rent high, because rent has exploded.
Yeah,
it has exploded in South Florida. It was bad before, but now it's the worst in the country.
I think it's also, and this is derailing from the main blame, but it's also a lot of these are Airbnbs, y'all. Like I saw a map of Broward and the available real estate. Like a lot of it's just all Airbnbs, you know? So, but here in Palm Beach County, I don't think it's as many Airbnbs. I think there are a lot of just wealthy people that are like moving here. And from the article, it sounds like this has become the Wall Street of the South.
Well, they're not buying shacks. I can tell you that. You know, they're buying median income, suburban ranch style places. But again, because they're doing this in such droves, you take a house that, 4 years ago was 300,000 and now it's over 500,000.
Like I can't, like what's so infuriating about this is like I started my business because I was like, if I keep working for other people as a paralegal, I'll never be able to afford my own place, right? Where I would want to live. So I started my business. I'm where I want to be, and then boom, housing prices have doubled. So I can't even afford places that I would turn my nose up at. Like
I was actually going to say that to her when she said she's looking to buy a place. I was like, I don't know about that.
Well,
man.
here's the funny thing is like
we're right at the top of the bubble.
It's been like only, we're in May now. Like I started this search January, February, and even since January, February, when I started, my mortgage rate was 3.7% is what I was quoted. And now it's over 5%. And say, a studio. I mean, I looked at a 1-bedroom apartment on South Beach that was $175,000, good square footage, balcony, whatever. Now, just months later is 250,000. They went in, repainted, which costs nothing. And now it's $250,000 from 3 months from when it was on the market, when I saw it. And that's everything. I mean, I saw things that were like 180 jump to 230, and then plus the mortgage hike, so it's just one of those things where it's like, how much can a fucking 420 square foot apartment increase in value, like appreciate in value over time? So it's like not even worth getting it as an investment piece,
Well, it's artificial. It's an artificially created value, and it's going to, all I do is work with realtors. I'm a home and building inspector. So every job I go on, I'm talking to realtors. Every single realtor I know or have a good rapport with has said the exact same thing. They said, you got 18 months at best. And then this is 2008 all over again.
So
the bubble's gonna pop. The market's gonna fall. It has to. It can't just keep going up.
The average house value has increased from December 2019 to the end of last year. The average in West Palm Beach, 82%. The average increase in home value, 82 motherfucking percent. Can you fucking, like, I ain't buying no house.
Yeah, and where's the salary?
You pay me to buy a house right now. I wouldn't buy anything right now.
Would you sell your houses right now?
I would sell, but only if you're moving to it.
No, but if you had one, would you sell in this market? Is it right?
No.
If you're moving to a different market.
If I bought it 10 years ago, then yes. If I bought it 10 months ago, probably still yes. But then where would I live,
Yeah. Where would
this is what I told my sister.
Renting at fucking $2,500, $3,000.
My sister's a perfect example, because she asked me about this, and I said, girl, if you want to make some money, right now is the time to do it. Because she keeps talking about moving to Nashville. I'm like, move now, because if you don't and this bubble pops, you're stuck in that house for a while.
Yeah,
so you ain't
gonna
moving
make no money off of it.
I said, if you leave right now, I looked over what she paid and what the values are. I said, you can make $80,000 right now. If you move before this bubble pops, you can make 70, 80 grand.
That's
easy.
all though?
Yeah. Well, they've only been in the house for 5 years,
Where are they?
They're out in Royal Palm Beach. So
I feel like it's just the value is more than that. It can't be.
It could possibly be. You have no idea what I've seen on these streets. I've seen bidding wars, overvalue, $10,000-$20,000 over asking. There's bidding wars. I've seen clients of mine that said, okay, well, there's $2,000 worth of repairs. That's pretty much nothing in my business. That's pretty par for the course.
Right.
And they said, well, we're not giving you anything. And they said, well, we'll walk if you don't. And they said, go ahead, I'll get another buyer tomorrow. And then they did. They got another buyer the next day, offering market price.
I put in an offer at asking price before they had even shown the apartment, and I was rejected. My offer was rejected because it wasn't a cash offer. It was finance contingent, which I had already been pre-approved for a mortgage loan at that price, and they still didn't take my offer. Like, it's insane. Because so now it's not even having the down payment or being able to pay. It's can you give cash up front? Like, can you give a cash offer? So it's even that messed up.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. A lot of these people buying these properties, they come in cash in hand. You know, that's not poor people, okay? They're not rocking up with a cashier's check for 500 grand.
Another motherfucking house, and that's why this is all messed up.
No, it's not even that. They're not even doing it for themselves. They're squirreling their money into property.
It's an investment, like you said earlier, about how Black folks didn't have that investment.
Exactly. They sold. We gave them loans back in the 50s. They bought a house somewhere in New Jersey or out of the city of New York. Those houses they got to buy for 20 grand, then turned into $1 million homes. They sold them, cashed in, and then reinvested their money in something else. When the market dropped due to COVID, everybody else was going broke. They were sitting at home. It was my best year ever in the history of me doing this. It was my best year. I was
You
working
sold the most property.
15, 16 hours a day I was working.
I remember.
It was crazy. But that was because they took all their money out of the market that was volatile and they stuck it into housing, which obviously is a lot safer.
I don't know.
And then rents went through the goddamn roof because of it.
It's insane. I don't even know what to say. I could talk about this every week because it's frustrating.
It's
I
the
know.
haves
feel
getting
like-
more
Yeah.
at the expense of the have-nots, and it's the same story you've
It
been hearing
sucks
your whole
because
life.
it's like I'm like, I'm pretty solidly middle class, but it's just like I can't. As much as I started to make more and more money, it's worth less and less. It's just.
Yeah, I mean, I even in terms of rent, right? Like as soon as I get out of this apartment next month when I'm going back to Jupiter, like this is increasing $1,000. My landlord is raising the rent $1,000.
Wow.
So yeah, it went from 23 for a 2-bedroom to 33 for a 2-bedroom. So that's
Just a shout out to Johnny Keller who is watching. Johnny, if you have a question or comment, go ahead and just put it in the comment sections right there where you asked if you could join, and we'll respond to you. That's how we do this.
Yeah.
If you're asking, can you actually join the video meeting? No. No, this is Shira's time, and we're gonna focus on Shira.
Before we get to focusing on Shira, I
Yeah.
do have one more blame I want to get to, and I want to talk about how Kim Kardashian on her new, she like stopped the show and now she has a new show. But on the new show, she had this whole storyline about how Kanye bought her sex tape back from Ray J. It was like crying and stuff. And then now you find out it's all a lie. That's what Ray J said. Who's to blame?
Bought it back. It's everywhere.
I
What do
don't
you
know.
mean? You can't buy it back.
The original
Well,
sex
the
tape.
original,
that's
like
why
the
we need NFTs, guys.
Yes.
That's NFTs are to blame. No.
Yeah, that's pretty good. No, it's look, she put that tape out to be famous. She's like, oh, I'm banging Ray J. Might as well film it and see what we can do. And then she got famous because of it. That's, I mean, was it intentional?
And now
Probably.
it haunts her. Now she has kids and they're like, oh, we don't want this out because of our kids. Even Ray J is saying this, right?
Oh, I'm sorry, famous billionaire. Who gives a shit what you want? Like,
Oh, yeah, she is a bill.
yeah, I don't care. I don't care
Why
what you
don't
want.
you just buy some more property in South Florida and shut up?
Yeah, exactly. You know what she was
Thank
doing?
you, Shira.
You know what she was doing while she was banging Ray J? Like what she was doing for a living? She's a makeup artist. All right, give back all your money. We'll all forget we saw your coochie, and and you can go back to doing makeup if you want to be that.
Kanye probably never would have been obsessed with you if he hadn't
Exactly.
seen your vagina.
Pete Davidson wouldn't
And
even know
now,
who
and
you
now
are.
he's like, we got kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw that video before y'all had kids. Shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
But why
like, who
make this
cares
story
anyway? It's sex. Like your kids probably understand that sex is something that people do. Okay,
And
so
And what kind of fucking weirdo kids are looking up their parents' sex tape?
But why?
Like, what kind of weirdo psycho Dahmers are you creating over there that go, oh, I got to see what mom's
Have you
cooter
seen
looks
North?
like?
Like, I don't know if you've seen their kid North. She is that.
Good. All right. Well,
crazy.
keep an eye on the pets, and I wish you the best.
She's crazy.
Yeah.
and I'm
No,
sure
but-
that it's all because of this tape and not because of like the lifestyle and being in front of the cameras and being made completely a famous billionaire at that age. Like,
I agree with that one right there.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But listen,
Exposure to Kanye, that had nothing to do with it, right?
make this storyline. Like, what purpose does it serve? Why bring the tape back up? Why fake this storyline? Do you think it got them more ratings? Like, do they need
Yes.
more ratings?
Because if her name is not mentioned in news or culture at any point, one day she dies. Did you know
here's
that?
who to blame.
Gotta keep her alive.
She
No.
dies.
Sure, what you
Here's
gotta
who
say?
to blame. Amber Heard and Johnny Depp.
Yeah, that's
There you
exactly. You know
go.
what?
That's
She's
too
actually-
much in the news circulation. They're like, sex
Yeah.
tape. Let's see if we can just
They're like-
regenerate this one.
But no,
Everybody's talking about their relationship. Oh, we gotta do something to
No.
get them talking about ours again.
But this was back in January when this was filmed, so there's no way that they knew that this.
You know who's to blame? The fact that she's not getting all the attention right now at this moment. That's who's to blame. She's used to getting all of it.
She was like crying about it, and Ray J goes, "All of this is a lie. SMH can't let them do this anymore. So untrue." And then he said,
"This also needs to stop. I also have kids."
Yeah,
that's great.
Good point, Ray J.
Yeah, I also have kids, so maybe shut the fuck up
Like,
and it goes
stop
away.
bringing the tape back
Yeah.
up. And if you're doing it for ratings, I don't know. I don't know. Like, why did they make Kanye look like a hero?
I can't believe I missed this.
What?
You know who's to blame?
What?
Pamela Anderson. That's who's to blame. Because
Why?
she got that show on Hulu that was all about their sex tape with Tommy Lee. It got good ratings. Everybody watched it, and she's like, "Well, I have a sex tape too." Like I feel like she's bringing it back up. Like, where's my show about my sex tape?
Yeah. Who's gonna play?
Man, I'm thinking of this show that was made about like this publicity agency or something who like works with like really high end like Leonardo DiCaprio type celebrities and or like a Britney Spears, and how they will do like those up shit like release a sex tape or whatever. Like, man, I'm trying to think of what it is, and then it's really dark. Like Bradley Cooper, I think, was in the last episode. Anyway, that's sorry, but it's like all about how like all this stuff is staged and intentional to bring people to the next level of their career by putting them in the public eye for some kind of scandal or something.
Well,
that makes me feel like, should I wait on my OnlyFans till my sex tape is released and then get the OnlyFans?
I don't think it works either way with that. Okay. But no, I like that you called them like public relations agencies. No, they're professional manipulators. That's what they are. They're professional manipulators. They manipulate the public opinion. We've known this. Back in the 90s, it was the same way. Like Justin and Brittany weren't in love. That wasn't real. They weren't virgins waiting for marriage. Even if they were together for real, they were fucking. You know what I mean? Like, and even that's
so you're saying this is all just scripted reality, right?
Yeah, they're manipulating the popular culture to their advantage.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you? Like, there's millions and millions of dollars online every time one of these shits happen.
I don't know. Like, just give me 1 million followers and I'll shut the fuck up.
None of your followers will be at your funeral, okay?
I don't need them there. I just need to be able
No, I just don't know who needs to hear that.
I need to get booked.
Stop trying to get followers so much. They don't care about you for real.
They get you things. It's capitalism.
Cultivate these
followers or capitalism.
Listen, cultivate this in-person relationship with people. That's what you need.
All right. Speaking of, let's go ahead and cultivate our semi-in-person. We've met Shira in person, both of us, but we couldn't get her in person today. That's okay. We got her in the house. Welcome to the Blamegirl podcast.
Shira here makes bad decisions.
Yes.
Didn't even know me, got in my car. Let's go to Miami. I was all right.
What is he talking about?
She's a gamer.
She's a good road dog. Like, I remember she hopped in my car too when we were coming back from Hop Life
propaganda or someplace.
I was like, have someone to ride with, but it's a little different hopping in with me than this.
Little did she know I'm a dangerous male monster, which you
could just pop.
But you
I already knew you were a comic, so.
But you survived relatively unscathed, so good for you.
You knew people would come for him if.
Maybe a little emotional damage along the way. I don't know.
All right.
Well, I'm just saying I was expecting you to be a monster since, you're a male.
Since I'm a comic. Yeah, of course.
Thank you for being on the podcast despite having ridden in the car with Terry. I really appreciate it. Shira, how long have you been doing comedy?
A year and a half now, almost.
What?
I know.
That's it?
I know.
You've made quite some waves for a year and a half. You've done so much. I see like you're already hosting your own rooms, and you had we'll get to it later, but you had I can't remember her name from Broad City.
Alana Glazer.
You had Alana Glazer in town. You had some shows with her. So you've only been doing it a year and a half. That's awesome. In that
Yeah.
year and a half, what has become your favorite venue to perform at? And
Ooh,
Can't say improvs. None of the improvs. Sorry.
I won't say. No, I mean, guys, this is major self-promotion here, but Gramps is my favorite room to perform at. Luckily, I host it and produce it, so I get to perform there weekly. But I think that's been my favorite place in Miami, just because like it is one of those places where, you know, it's separate from the bar and stuff, and people who are there to see comedy. They're there to laugh. Gramps is just an iconic bar in Wynwood, like to begin with. So, you know, I think,
Okay.
yeah.
So I haven't been booked there. Who's to blame?
Yourself. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I should have driven better.
Yeah, she's ridden with you. That's why.
Yeah, she
So
got to know me. That's the
so
problem.
your favorite room is the room that you host, Gramps. How long have you been hosting it?
Since the beginning of this year. Yeah.
Okay.
Since
Who hosted
January.
it before?
There have been different people. I think Bradless was producing or hosting before the pandemic, but they definitely like stopped doing those events for, you know, the better part of at least a year. So yeah.
But you're not the first show at Gramps, though,
No,
right?
I'm not the first comedy show at Grams, no.
Yeah. Because I used to frequent back in the day when I was, you know, 3 to 5 years in. Yeah, we used to go down all the time. Even Hannibal Buress did a pop-up show there one time.
Yeah, he almost came on with Alana, but I guess didn't make it into town. Yeah.
So what has been your favorite moment since you've been doing comedy?
Oh man, I have had so many
What's your
good
proudest
moments.
moment? What she was saying. That's the proudest moment.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. You're right.
Thank you. Yeah, okay. Well,
by the way, he said
so
you're
here's
right.
the thing. Oh, so it's interesting because, you know, like when I performed for Alana, I think that was probably like the biggest audience I had. You know, she didn't know this, but that was definitely the biggest audience that I performed in front of. And I think I was really like scared shitless to get on that stage and in that kind of environment, because I didn't really feel, you know, after I felt like that was an opportunity that was better suited to somebody who had been performing for years and years, you know. But so I'd say that was a proud moment. But I didn't kill it, I don't think. Like I performed twice, and you know, the second time went better than the first. And I think, you know, it's valuable because after those experiences, I made my set better. But I think that was proud. I would say more recently, I performed at Lit in Wilton Manors with Auntie Mame. And I think that was one of the sets that I just, you know, it was a nice 10 minutes, 10, 12 minutes. And I think that was one of the first times I've just had an audience like rolling in laughter from beginning to end. And that was also like very intimidating because it was in Wilton Manors. There was not a single straight person. There were 2 women in the audience. And, you know, like that's typically my demographic is more like women or, you know, men, depending on.
So you can reach across the aisle with your comedy, huh?
Right. So I went and I was like, you know, and also being kind of newer to the scene, and I have like, you know, just thoughts on this as well, but I've also been told, you know, oh, who would ever think you're funny besides women and men who want to fuck you? So performing for a bunch of gay men, none of them want to fuck me and none of them are women, you know, and still having that amazing response was like, you know, it was validating. So yeah, that was probably like, I felt lit.
What's been your biggest challenge being a comedian?
Definitely, like, you know, part of the reason I didn't quit comedy is because I had massive stage fright. And like, I'm somebody, I don't know, I think I've always cared so much about looking stupid and like to the point where, you know, I still will now catch myself doing it if I'm like in conversations. Like I always have to think what I'm gonna say like 5 times before I say it, because I don't want to say the wrong thing or come off looking dumb, worried about failing a lot. So I think the most challenging part is just the repetition of getting on stage and like getting myself to a point where like it wasn't just about, how the audience was receiving me, and just allowing myself like, and knowing that at some points they're not going to think I'm funny, or they're going to think I'm stupid, or they're going to hate me, or whatever it is, and like just being okay with that.
Like letting yourself do all those things that you're trying to avoid happening. You got to, especially when you do this, because
Yeah.
you're not just, no one's just gonna get up there and have a perfect set right away. You're gonna learn so much your first time up, as much as you're gonna learn something your 190th time up. So
Yeah, I mean, I think
Oh, wait, you're saying the more you do things, the better you can get at them?
yeah, I think
Hot take.
Yeah, but in comedy, it does take a little bit of talent. You gotta be a little funny.
Well, I think the common misconception too is that like if you have a bad set, you're not funny. Like I think that's something that I sort of
I don't know anybody that thinks that. You could take
Well, I think that like when I first started off, I kind of thought like if you're funny, you can make people laugh in every room. Like and if I didn't laugh, or an audience didn't laugh at this particular person at this particular show, it must mean because they're not funny. And I think that was something I learned like pretty early on, after I realized like, oh my God, I just saw that person bomb like last week, and now this week they're telling the same exact jokes, and they're crushing. So I think
that's the thing you learn about when you do this. It's like you might bomb here and not here with those same exact fucking jokes,
Well, the great thing is when you get to longer sets, right? So like take for instance, like I've got about 75 minutes worth of material. So when you go into a room at that point, you can look around the room, kind of see who's there, and think to yourself, okay, well, I'm going to do these jokes because this is the thing I've learned they're going to respond to.
Yeah.
Like I will change my jokes dramatically based on if it's mostly young people versus mostly old people. If it's mostly black people versus mostly white people.
Yeah.
Just because it's not even stereotypical at this point. It's just like speaks to like, and it seems to resonate with certain things will resonate with other people and not with others. But no, I don't think you can just destroy any room. Just walk into the room and be fun. Try doing that at Planned Parenthood. You'll get 0 laughs. 0. You can just walk in there and be like, so is anybody else making bad decisions? Yeah. Not a laugh. Crickets.
I think they would laugh. I mean, generally people who make bad decisions wind up at Planned Parenthood,
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Well, that's the joke.
So Shira, tell us about you as a person. Like, what do you have a day job? Are you in school?
Yeah, I have a day job. I work as a matchmaker.
No way.
Yes, no, we were talking about this, and I
so
want to get into this
with you.
She needs a match. Look her up.
I'll put you in my system. I'll send you my recruit link.
No, it's fine. Don't do it. I'd rather meet someone organically. That's cool. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so I mean, I have a list of clients. I have about 25 clients right now. And I have a database that I look through to see, if there's potential matches. If somebody looks like a match on paper, I meet them, I interview them. If I think they could be a good match for my client, then I continue forward with setting up a date and see how it goes.
Are you ever like, this is a good match for me, I'm not gonna do you ever do that?
You ever take
that's
one of
how
them,
you discover that people.
What'd you say?
So this is like okay, so there was like one client that I kind of had a crush on from New York, and he actually wound up visiting Miami, and we wound up hooking up. It wasn't really until, we had an hour-long welcome meeting all about like his values and what he's looking for, but it wasn't until I was hooking up with him where I figured out he's like a very devout Christian and like doesn't really believe in gay people and like, I don't
ain't
know.
so
just like-
devout.
Yeah.
Wait, he ain't so devout that
He won't
is-
fuck you,
there's some
yeah.
premarital sex that
That's
he's
the
willing
thing
to
I
have.
just thought.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Well, and here's the other funny thing about that. The next date I sent him out on, he wound up like, I think he's like still dating her. Must have been a year ago, and he put his account on pause. So,
That's gotta be
that's
awkward.
just true being that person who people date before they meet their like forever partner.
That's got to be
Same,
awkward though. It's
same.
like you hook up with a guy and then you're like, by the way, have you met Tiffany? Like now you still have to set him up with other people.
Well, I think after that, like experience, it was like, okay, first of all, you don't really live here. Second of all, you and I don't have the same values whatsoever. So, it was not
It's
so
easier than
hard.
you would think, right?
Any straight man who's like you, gay people, hasn't had a threesome because that's just amazing. Seriously, broaden your horizons, man. You are missing a lot of
Are
life.
you from Florida?
Yeah.
Jupiter.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any other projects? Like, tell us about your room, or do you have a podcast or anything?
No podcast. I'm just right now I'm focusing on, trying to like generate awareness around my weekly nights, which is the showcase at Gramps every Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Again, my favorite room. And then there's also, I host an open mic on Friday nights at the Citadel, which is also in Miami, in like Little River
Friday
area.
night mic, huh? Okay.
Huh?
A Friday night open mic in Miami, huh?
Yeah, Friday night mic in Miami. Hoping to eventually develop that to a showcase as well for once a month showcase. So I'm right now, I'm focusing on just trying to make the, the rooms that I already have and want to grow those and develop those further. And then really just work on my set because I don't, like working with Alana Glazer was obviously like a huge, amazing experience, but I think it caused so much stress, especially for being so early on in my comedy journey, so like I think it did kind of take me out of like working on new material. So now I'm trying to work on new material, rework old material so that I can add more time to my sets.
Well, that's what having two rooms is for,
Yeah.
You've got unlimited time to go up there and try new shit. Just sandwich in some new jokes and see what works. Hey, Friday night, Mike, you want to do that?
Yeah, we'll check it out.
All right, Friday night, we'll see you.
All right, I'll put it down.
Are you ready to play the blame game? Shira?
Oh, am I? Yeah.
Yeah, it's you. Now we're gonna see who's to blame on your shit.
Okay. Yo, it is so hard out here finding a husband. And now that I know you're a matchmaker, who's to blame? I was watching Kevin Samuels earlier. Should I be listening to him?
Who is Kevin Samuels?
Yeah, see, thank you. You didn't know who she was either.
I think Instagram is to blame.
Oh, yeah.
You're not wrong. I mean, I don't
think
know if
men
you're
are
right.
to
But
blame.
you're definitely not
I
wrong.
think fathers.
How is Instagram to blame?
I think like just too many, like, there's the fear of missing out. There's the fear of better possibilities. Is that what it is?
Oh,
Yep.
Fear of better
No, there's-
opportunities. And it's like, what makes you think that these fucking Instagram models are going to be into you, but yet people don't want to like settle or commit because they just like think that one day they're going to be able to fuck a model.
Just
Well,
like we
I
think we'll
agree.
be
I
a
agree with that one.
billionaire one day.
I agree with that
We're
1000%
so
because
delusional.
that's exactly what I thought when you asked the question. Was I was like, here it is, you got a Honda at home that's been really reliable, but as a man, as soon as you pick up that phone, you're just looking at how everybody's got a Ferrari, and again, you feel like you missed out. You're like, oh shit, I'm just no.
Don't be calling us no Hondas.
No, I'm
first
not
of all.
calling you a Honda. I'm not talking about
Anyway.
anybody specifically. I'm just telling you, this has been my experience. I was
So-
married. I was married for 7 years. I got to see this influx of all these hotness coming into your phone.
thank you for telling us why it's so hard for us to find a husband. Now, Shira, why do you think
It is the men's fault.
Why do you-
That's what I'm saying.
why do you think it's the men's fault?
Why do I think it's the men's
Shira,
fault?
why
Oh.
do you think it's the men's fault?
Yeah,
I just
ridiculous.
like,
What do you think it's the
I
men's
can't figure out. Maybe like we can pose this to listeners or something. Like I mean, I'm on the apps though. Mostly the people who I wind up getting together with are, people I've met IRL. But like, I don't understand why nobody wants to actually get together and go on a date. Like I had somebody who I had connected with on Hinge, started following each other on Instagram instantly. He was off work on a Sunday. I was like, Sunday's great. Let's do coffee. Didn't wind up happening. And then he saw, like, I posted the other day, like, someone take me to brunch, and he responded. He's like, oh, I didn't see this until now. And I was like, you don't need to wait for my Instagram post to like ask me out on a date. And he was like, yeah, that's no excuse. Okay. And then never asked me out on a date. Like I had somebody else being like, can we exchange numbers so that we can get to know each other? And I was like, honestly, I'd rather like get to know you in person and like, let's just set something up. And then he unmatched me. And I've had that happen. Like,
I used to pull that with guys. I used to say,
I don't know what kind of guys you guys are
Can
dealing
I-
with.
Can I get in here?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
used to pull that with
Shut up,
guys. You're about to have a whole monologue.
No, I didn't.
I used to pull it with guys. Like I would say that the same thing. Like I don't want to put your number in my phone until I know if it's gonna we're gonna be messaging. Let's meet up. Like I like to meet up fast. I don't like to fucking message
Every woman does. Every woman.
on these apps for long, and then it's stupid.
I'm sorry, I'm not even coming at you. I'm coming at every dude out there. I don't know what these apps has manipulated men's minds or fucked us up or something. I don't know. I don't know what's up with these
I
dudes.
think
What
women
happened to just
know
trying to
too.
get laid? Like what happened to that? It's
Well,
so now it's
that
like
is
they're all
different.
bashful.
Just trying to
Okay,
get laid.
Yeah, no.
I've had
what
somebody
happened
also just invite me over, like, oh, okay, I wrote, he had like something I can teach you how to, and it was him playing tennis. And I was like, let's play tennis. And he's like, LOL, come over. And I was like, no,
that's a
and then
bit.
I was like, sorry, I'm actually like looking for a connection. And then he unmatched me. I was like, okay, cool. Like you can try and get
They
but
just want to
like,
fuck,
Oh,
right?
okay. But see, what I'm saying is just asking a woman out. This is going back to what you were saying. Just asking a woman out. Me personally, I'm exactly the same way. I don't want to text you on this app all the time. If I get through a good conversation with you, I'm like, here's my number. Text me tomorrow. We'll set something up. That's it.
so why isn't it
don't
happening
wanna see
then?
I don't want to see your Instagram profile and try to figure out who you really are. Just
Yeah.
show up and show up in a public place so you feel safe and I don't feel like you're gonna stalk me, and let's just get to know each other. What is so fucking wrong with
All
that?
right. Well, thank you for answering why it's so hard for us to find a husband, Terry.
What am I here for?
Okay,
I'm here to
Kevin
give you the
Samuels.
regular white male
Okay,
perspective.
Kevin Samuels. All right. Thank you, Shira, for all your feedback.
Don't go anywhere.
Uh-oh. Jason said he's here. Let the poppy begin. All right. So yeah, don't go anywhere. Shira, do you have any shows you want to promote that you are in coming up?
Not really, same thing, just Gramps. Gramps every Wednesday at 8 p.m.
And your
Okay.
Friday show is
The Citadel at 10 p.m.
the
Okay.
Citadel. I don't know where that is, but I'll look it up.
All right. And guys, Shira, hang around till we end
Okay.
the show, but it is time for Terry Wayne's Words for White People. I give him
Oh yeah, and
the
we're going.
stage.
This ain't words for all people this week. We're going right at the honkies. This week, we're strangely enough, since we're talking about education, let's get back on that. Education. I hate the fact that everybody's got they're shoving the ass of their politics into these kids' little brains. Like, I don't care if you're liberal or you're Republican. I don't really care if you're hard right or hard left. Stop fucking with these kids, man. Give them a chance. Just give them a chance. I say the same thing about religion. To those of you guys who know, my father's been an evangelical pastor his whole life. And I've always told him, I'm like, as soon as you mix religion and politics, you poison them both. And that's the same thing you're doing with these kids in these public schools. You're going back and forth about what's important and this is important and that's important. No, we got to be ultra inclusive to everybody. We got to have every single voice heard, no matter even if they're 0.01% of the population. That's fucking stupid. Educate these kids. They need this. This is real. Okay, this isn't red versus blue. This isn't let's go Brandon. This ain't bullshit. You're fucking with people's lives. Stop it. Get your politics out of these schools, because you're really messing with these kids' head and you're messing with their future. Why is this so important to you that you're willing to mortgage your own children's futures just so you can get it exactly the way you want to? Okay? Stop worrying about critical race theory as if that's ever been taught in a public school classroom anywhere in America, because it hasn't. Okay, stop being fearful that they're going to turn your kids gay, because they've been shouting that shit since the 90s when I was a teenager. Just get your politics out of the classroom, because you're doing nothing but poisoning them both. You're poisoning your own politics, you're poisoning their education, and you're poisoning your kids' minds. Let them have a chance to figure the world out for themselves, and just teach them history and how to add, and for God's sakes, teach them how to do their taxes and what credit is. And that's the only thing Ron DeSantis and I have agreed on since he's been governor.
Mm-hmm.
Shira, you still with us?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Jason says,
oh, Jason said a lot of things.
Teach the kids to have based lives, based futures, whatever that means. And yeah, exactly.
I get what you're saying, Jason. You're telling them how to have a logic based, just right, you know.
We already talked about teaching them how to, oh no, not that taxes are
not theft.
But how to cheat their taxes.
Exactly. Talk about Jeff. Right. Talk to Jeff Bezos about what tax theft.
All right,
is.
Terry, you got anything coming up this week?
Not this. Oh, actually, yeah, I will be at the Citadel on Friday night with you.
Yeah, we'll be at that open mic.
We will be there at that open mic. After that, it's just the 15th again with you at Bergeron Rodeo Grounds, where I will do 15 minutes of clean material in front of children.
Me too.
Yep.
Look at Shira. All right, guys.
Me in front of kids. Oh, this is going to go well. I'm just going to start it off with Santa ain't real.
I mean, he wants to be a dad. So anyway. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in this week. Until next week, we'll be back for some blaming.
Don't go anywhere.